Welcome to a journey back in time to a pivotal moment that forever altered the course of history. Tonight, we explore the Last Supper, the final meal that Jesus shared with his 12 apostles in the heart of ancient Jerusalem. This wasn't just any dinner. It was a gathering that held the weight of imminent betrayal and profound teachings, a moment that has captivated the hearts and minds of millions for centuries. The Last Supper stands as a cornerstone of Christian theology, not merely for its introduction of the communion, but for its deep symbolism of sacrifice and unity. It was here that bread and wine took on monumental significance, symbols that continue to resonate across the globe. As we delve into the layers of this historical event, we're left to wonder, what can we really learn from one of the most symbolic meals in history? Join us as we uncover the mysteries and the messages of that fateful night. As the sun dipped below the ancient walls of Jerusalem, the city brimmed with anticipation and fervor. It was Passover, a sacred festival that commemorated the Hebrews' exodus from Egypt, marked by the angel of death passing over their homes. Jerusalem, a tapestry of bustling markets and solemn temples, swelled with pilgrims from across the land, each one here to remember the power of deliverance and divine protection. In the midst of this chaotic devotion, Jesus of Nazareth and his 12 apostles were preparing for their own observance of this holy day. Far from the crowds, in a secluded upper room, preparations were underway. This was no ordinary Passover meal. It was to be a supper imbued with profound lessons and heartbreaking revelations. The room was simple, the furnishings sparse. A long table was set, candles flickering gently in the dim light, casting long shadows on the walls. Here, Jesus and his closest followers would share their final meal together, a meal that would redefine the very fabric of their beliefs and rituals. As they gathered, the air was thick with a mix of solemnity and mysterious expectation. Each apostle, from the zealous Peter to the contemplative John, brought their own hopes and fears to the table. They were united by their faith in Jesus, yet unaware of the dramatic turn their lives were about to take. As the evening shadows lengthened, the chosen space for this momentous supper was an upper room, modest yet charged with an air of quiet solemnity. The walls, bare and austere, seemed to echo with silent whispers of the imminent, profound events. A long wooden table stood at the center, its surface rough-hewn, simple clay goblets, and plates arrayed with purposeful humility. The flicker of candlelight cast a soft, undulating glow, shadows dancing gently across the faces of Jesus and his disciples as they gathered. The atmosphere was thick with a sense of intimate communion, as if the room itself was holding its breath in the presence of the sacred ritual about to unfold. Tonight's meal was the Passover, a feast steeped in the memory of liberation and divine deliverance. Historically, it commemorated the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, when the angel of death passed over the homes marked with lamb's blood, sparing them from the plague that struck down the firstborn of Egypt. Each element of the meal was symbolic: bitter herbs for the bitterness of slavery, unleavened bread to symbolize the haste of their flight from bondage, and wine, the symbol of joy in the promise of freedom. Jesus, with a deep understanding of the traditional symbolism, was about to infuse this meal with new meaning. As he prepared to share the bread and wine, his words would imbue them with a significance that would resonate through the ages, transforming this Passover into a new covenant between God and humanity. The disciples, aware of the sacred traditions, but unaware of the full scope of the night's ultimate significance, listened intently. This was no ordinary meal. It was a declaration of a shift in the very fabric of their faith, a prelude to sacrifice and resurrection, and they were the witnesses. In a moment that would forever echo through the corridors of time, the supper took a pause as Jesus, the leader and master, rose from his seat with a purpose that stilled the air around. The room, already thick with solemnity, watched in suspended silence. Jesus removed his outer garments, taking a position not of a master, but of a servant. He poured water into a basin, the gentle splash breaking the quiet like a solemn symphony. One by one, he approached his disciples, kneeling before them with a grace that belied the gravity of the act. As he washed their feet, the cool water trickling over weary ankles and toes, a profound lesson was being taught. This was no mere ritual cleansing, but a demonstration of humility and service, a commandment of love that he was imparting to his followers. Peter, ever impulsive, initially resisted, declaring, "You shall never wash my feet." But Jesus responded with a gentle firmness, "If I do not wash you, you have no share with me." Understanding dawned in Peter's eyes as the true weight of Jesus' words settled upon him, and he relented, allowing the act to complete. As Jesus wiped their feet dry, the lesson deepened, transcending the mere physical act. He spoke softly yet with unwavering clarity, "I have given you an example, that you also should do, just as I have done to you." The disciples listened, the lesson etching into their hearts. It was a call to selflessness, to wash away pride, and to serve one another with the same unconditional love. In this quiet act of washing feet, Jesus laid bare the essence of his teachings: leadership through servitude, power in humility, and greatness in the least actions of care and kindness. It was a moment of vulnerability and strength intertwined, setting the stage for the ultimate acts of love and sacrifice that were to follow. As the last echoes of the foot-washing lesson faded into the hushed atmosphere of the upper room, the gathering drew close once again around the humble table. The moment had arrived for one of the most enduring rituals of Christian faith to be instituted. The air was charged with a sacred tension as Jesus, with deliberate solemnity, reached for the loaf of bread that lay before him. With all eyes fixed upon him, Jesus lifted the bread, pausing to bless it with a prayer of gratitude. As he spoke, the very essence of the room seemed to hold its breath every word, a thread in the fabric of a new covenant. Breaking the bread into pieces, he distributed it to his disciples, each piece a profound symbol of his body, soon to be given up in sacrifice. "Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you," he declared, his voice both tender and laden with the weight of coming events. The disciples received the bread with a mixture of awe and mysticism, the simplicity of the act belying its infinite depth. Next, he took a cup of wine, and after giving thanks, he passed it around, each disciple sipping from it as it came to them. "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you," Jesus explained. The wine, rich and red, symbolized his blood that would soon be shed, an offering for the sins of the world. As the bread was broken and the wine shared, the room transcended its physical confines, becoming a tableau of unity and sacrificial love. This ritual, simple in elements, but profound in meaning, would echo through centuries, a perpetual remembrance of the sacrifice and renewal promised that night. In that quiet, candlelit room, as the symbols of bread and wine were passed among them, the disciples were drawn into the profound mystery of Jesus' mission. They were witnessing the birth of the Eucharist, a sacrament that would come to define communion with Christ for generations. The subdued murmur of conversation and the gentle clinking of bread and wine paused as a heavy silence fell over the upper room. The flickering candlelight cast long, wavering shadows against the walls, mirroring the growing tension within the room. Jesus, his expression solemn and eyes filled with an unfathomable depth of sadness, looked around the table at each of his disciples. As the last remnants of peace faded, Jesus' voice broke the silence, resonant yet heavy with sorrow. "Truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me," he declared, his words hanging in the air like a sharp frost. The impact was immediate and visceral. The faces of the disciples transformed with shock and confusion, a mix of fear and incredulity passing through their eyes as each man began to question his neighbor with a growing sense of dread. "Surely not I, Lord," they asked one after another, their voices a blend of disbelief and desperation. The room buzzed with a tumultuous energy as the reality of his words slowly sank in. Judas, sitting quietly with a tension in his jaw and a shadow over his eyes, remained particularly still, the gravity of his impending actions weighing heavily upon him. Jesus, addressing their turmoil, continued with a heavy heart, "The one who has dipped his hand into the bowl with me will betray me." The implication of his words echoed ominously, deepening the sense of betrayal. The disciples looked at each other, suspicion and confusion clouding their understanding, as the atmosphere thickened with unease. As the realization set in, the room filled with a palpable sense of foreboding. This was not just a moment of prophecy, but a profound revelation of human frailty and the darkness that can dwell within. The supper, once a scene of unity and love, now bore the weight of betrayal and the somber prelude to suffering. As the tension in the room reached a fever pitch, the air thick with whispers and wary glances, one figure began to detach from the gathering. Judas, the disciple soon to be etched in history as the betrayer, slowly stood. His movements were deliberate, heavy with an unspeakable burden, as if every step were laden with the weight of impending doom. The other disciples, caught up in their own turmoil and confusion, barely registered his quiet exit. Judas's eyes, once filled with the light of a follower, now flickered with the shadows of conflict and resolve. There was a brief, silent exchange of looks between him and Jesus, a moment charged with unspoken understanding and profound sorrow. Judas slipped out into the cool night, the soft closing of the door echoing ominously through the upper room. Outside, the bustling sounds of Jerusalem during Passover formed a stark contrast to the heavy solitude that now enveloped him. The city was alive with celebration, oblivious to the drama unfolding within its very heart. As the door shut, the atmosphere inside the room shifted subtly. The remaining disciples felt a chill of foreboding. Though they could not yet grasp the full extent of the night's significance, they were left to ponder the depth of betrayal and the mysteries of faith, unaware that the wheels of a greater plan were now turning inexorably towards a climax that would change the world. Judas's departure set the stage for the harrowing events that were to follow. It was the act that would lead to the Garden of Gethsemane, the kiss of betrayal, and ultimately the crucifixion, a sequence of events that would fulfill ancient prophecies and redefine the essence of faith and redemption. In the stillness that settled after Judas's departure, Jesus turned to his remaining disciples with a sense of urgency and profound love. The room, now thick with anticipation and sorrow, became the witness to some of the most heartfelt teachings Jesus would impart. He knew his time was short, and his words carried the weight of legacy and farewell. "Let not your hearts be troubled," Jesus began, his voice a calming balm in the midst of brewing storms. "Believe in God, believe also in me." His message was one of faith and assurance, promising a place for each of them, his Father's house, where many rooms awaited their arrival. He spoke of love, the cornerstone of his teachings, commanding his disciples to love one another as he had loved them. "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." It was a call to radical kinship and compassion, a love that would define their community and mission. Jesus also promised the coming of the Holy Spirit, whom he called the Advocate. The Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I have said to you. This was a promise of divine guidance and memory, ensuring that his teachings would resonate beyond the barriers of time and persecution. Unity was another pillar in his discourse. "I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." Through this metaphor, he illustrated their dependence on his spiritual presence, emphasizing that their strength and success in spreading his word were rooted in unity with him and with each other. As the night deepened, Jesus' teachings wove a tapestry of comfort, challenge, and prophecy. He prepared his followers for the trials ahead, ensuring they understood that their journey was not just one of hardship, but also of hope, love, and the perpetual guidance of the Holy Spirit. His final discourse was a profound blend of farewell and commissioning, leaving a lasting imprint on the hearts of those who followed him, a message that continues to inspire and guide millions around the world. As we reach the end of our journey through that solemn night at the Last Supper, we pause to reflect on the profound emotional and spiritual lessons embedded within this pivotal event. This was not merely a historic meal, but a profound moment of revelation and instruction that resonates through the ages. The Last Supper teaches us about the depths of betrayal, the strength found in humility, and the transformative power of forgiveness. Jesus, in his final hours with his disciples, exemplified what it means to serve and love unconditionally even in the face of betrayal. He washed the feet of his friends, shared a meal with them, and imparted lasting wisdom that would anchor their faith through the trials to come. We are invited to consider how these themes play out in our own lives. Betrayal, whether small or profound, tests our capacity for forgiveness and challenges our understanding of faith. Yet, the example set by Jesus offers a pathway to reconciliation and peace. He showed that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a bold act of strength and mercy. Furthermore, this sacred meal underscores the importance of unity and communion. As we face our daily struggles and uncertainties, the promise of the Holy Spirit reminds us that we are not alone. Our faith can guide us, inspire us, and provide the strength to overcome adversity. I invite you now to reflect on how these lessons affect your own journey. How do you respond to betrayal? Can you find the courage to forgive, to foster unity, and to deepen your faith? These are not easy questions, but they are essential ones, as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. Let us take these teachings into our hearts and let them guide us in our daily lives, echoing the love, humility, and strength demonstrated during that last, fateful supper. I hope this video has offered you new insights and deeper understanding into this pivotal moment in history. If it has moved you or sparked new thoughts, I encourage you to like and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more such stories to light. Please share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. How do these themes of betrayal, forgiveness, and faith resonate with you? What lessons do you take away from this historical event? Your engagement enriches our community and deepens the conversation around these timeless stories. And if you're interested in further exploration of biblical narratives and their impact on our lives today, stay tuned. We have upcoming videos that delve into other significant events and figures from the Bible, each offering unique lessons and insights. Don't miss out. Make sure you hit the notification bell to get updates on our latest releases. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Last Supper. Together, let's continue to explore, learn, and grow through these ancient teachings that still resonate so powerfully today. As we conclude our journey through the Last Supper, let us carry with us not just the stories told, but the wisdom imparted. In the words of Jesus himself, which echo through the ages, let these resonate as a guiding light for us all. A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. John 13:34-35. This simple yet profound command encapsulates the essence of what it means to live a life of faith and compassion. As we face the complexities of our world today, may we remember the power of love to transform, to heal, and to unite. Thank you for spending this time with us. May these ancient lessons inspire you to act with kindness and purpose, to seek understanding, and to extend love to all in your path. Until we meet again, peace be with you.